A few of you have asked me about what makes a good summary and response, so I just wanted to create a little video and explain it to you since we ran out of time in class last week. But let's just reiterate what a good summary will entail. So, first of all, it will include the main ideas and explain, if necessary, from the author's article or from a chapter. It will show that you understand the original text. You will mention the author's name and credentials. And then once you mention the author's first and last name once, you will then use only the last name after. The summary chooses the most important points, and then this is important, it will organize them logically to best represent the original text's intent. So you are choosing the most important ideas that are put forth and making sure that you rewrite them logically. So if Pollen, for example, starts about talking about shopping at a supermarket presently and then goes back to the history, you might want to start with the point in time that came first. So the historical part, and then the present, and then the future, right? Thinking about organization will help you with the overall content of the summary and also with the organization of your essays. So you want to use summary moves also. Summary moves are just the words like Pollen explains, he shows, he says, he states, he demonstrates, he questions, okay? Those are just basically showing that the idea is coming from someone else or another source. And you don't want to use specific examples or stories, okay? Remember, main idea does not include specific details. So you don't need to include many dates, many stats or quotes, none of that. The big idea, and that's it. It should be written in your own words, and the words should be specific enough, and this is a good goal for a summary, that someone who has not read the article can understand what it says based on just what your summary says. They can get the main idea of the chapter or the article. And really, you can summarize Pollen's chapters in one paragraph or less. You can, as long as you get the most important points. Now let's look at the response. So as we talked about in class, you can't really formulate a good response unless you have a solid understanding of what the chapter is about. So once you do, then you can write your response, and in it you should critique or evaluate some of the author's claims. The response is going to be your opinion in relation to the author's ideas, and you can support your own idea or your own opinions with facts and connections and details, questions, whatever. So let me kind of explain that more. So you want to focus on a few specific ideas mentioned by the article and include those ideas in your response. And what can you do then with those ideas? You can agree or disagree and give reasons why, okay? If you agree, you might want to bring something new to the table. Add something new that builds on the author's points. That's kind of contributing to the larger conversation. You can also question the author's ideas or points, and you can include background knowledge that you have that relates to to the author's points. You can include experience you have, personal that are, personal connections. You can include references or resources that relate to what you read and brought up. All of these things here constitute a strong response. So let's take a look at two different responses from class, and I'll read them and then I'll tell you what I really like about them. So, I have heard that high rates of obesity is a huge, serious issue in the US, but I haven't thought deeply about why most low-income and less educated people become obese easily. The author mentions that we are seeing a huge shift away from traditional diets. The US culture has crept across the border. Interestingly, I have same feelings about my country. In Japan, we didn't use Western sugar in the past in 16th centuries. At that time, Japanese sweets were less calories, such as bean soup, sticky fruit, rice, fruits, etc. However, after Japanese government expanded international trade, we could eat a lot of Western sweets, such as donuts, cakes, and ice creams. As a consequence, our diet has significantly changed, and now they're getting worried about their health. What is so great about this response? First of all, she starts by referencing the idea of the article she's responding to, and she includes it. So, I have heard about high rates of obesity in the US, but I didn't really think why most low income and less educated people became obese easily. This is a specific point from the article she's responding to. And then I love that she uses this quote, right? We see a shift away from the traditional diets, another specific point from the article. So she's setting herself up to respond to these ideas here. She makes this connection. I have the same feeling about my country. So she's personally connecting to this quote here. And then she's comparing, right? Using specific examples from Japan. So in Japan, we didn't use Western sugar. She gives specific examples of sweets that were not used with Western sugars, corn syrup, right? And she's including background information and adding something new to this conversation about the effects of the US diet on not only immigrants, right? That's what this article is about, but she's talking about people in other parts of the world who are being affected by the United States. And she has this nice concluding sentence at the end. Okay, so this is an excellent response. Let's look at the next one. I agree with the author's point of view. As a Latino immigrant, I feel that we are facing a big problem. When I just arrived to the US, I was impressed to see how many different food alternatives this country offers. Sadly, many of these food alternatives are hurting not just the Latino population, but the whole country. I have seen how we all see on the TV, internet, and everywhere else ads related to fast food, but nothing that might help people overcome this massive problem generated by fast food industries. On the other hand, I consider that it's very important to expose who and why is behind this problem. Why can't articles like this that clearly make a big impact on the readers say who is causing this problem? Are these companies the ones that cannot be named? Why are food politics allowing companies to keep hurting the nation? At the end, I think everything boils down to money. So this is a really thoughtful post. She starts with agreeing, okay, and she kind of summarizes an idea in the article. This is one specific idea about how there are many different food alternatives here, but they are hurting people. They're hurting the whole country, not just the Latino population. So she broadens the author's perspective, right? And then she adds her own idea, her own contribution about how the advertisements and all that you see all over is something that's affecting people. And then she kind of contradicts the author. She questions the author here. So on one hand, she agrees. She adds to the author's point by bringing up a new idea. And then she brings up a alternate point by questioning the author. She says, why can't the author actually expose who and why is behind this problem? This is a really, really thoughtful comment here. Why can't the media, right, articles in the news, state who is at the root? There are companies we know, and why are they being protected? And then she offers, after her questions, she offers her own analysis. I think that it has to do with money. So this response here is really, really great in that it's thoughtfully responded to the article, and she's also set herself up to write a pretty good essay about food politics or a research paper. She's already starting to develop her ideas about food politics and who is causing these different problems um, related to obesity and health issues here. So take a look at these two responses. They're posted on the website. There's one more, but I don't have time to go into that. And yeah, give it a shot this week. Try to respond to specific ideas, question, agree and disagree, use specific examples, and bring something new to the table. Offer something unique around this conversation of food politics that we're having. All right, thanks for listening.